Job Vlog.
It's too hot, guys. I don't want to carry this around, actually. It's kind of burning my hand here. I lock that? Sure. So, it's a little too hot for me to run and do this last review, but I want you guys to know that I'm reviewing Thor Ragnarok. I usually say that better. But I actually enjoyed this movie more than I expected, though I find that these Thor movies have a certain imagination factor to them that kind of help them stand out from the rest of the MCU. Like, I enjoyed the first Thor. I didn't see the second one, whatever that was called. You know, they had to put dark in it because they want to be like the Dark Knight Rises, Thor the Dark World, whatever. Yep, so anyhow, by the time you see this, this will be a day before my first stand-up comedy hour in a theater. It's a small theater. I'm expecting a fairly meager crowd. The problem with a small crowd is reference. Is there going to be enough people to get the points of references? Are they young enough? Do they understand the internet, the apps? I'm going to be talking about Fortnite and Overwatch and stuff. And even the Avengers a good deal. So this movie comes from 2017, directed by this guy from New Zealand. His name's like Beat Takashi Hawaii Tahiti. And I liked his one of his previous movies, What We Do in the Shadows. I did a review for here during the winter. And I found this pretty enjoyable overall. It starts out with more tongue-in-cheek. And I was concerned about this. You know, you got the bright colors on the poster and things. I thought this was going for a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. And in some ways it was. They didn't load it up with a bunch of 70s rock, though appropriately enough they used Led Zeppelin as a Thor theme that I think could have been done earlier. You know, if the I Come From the Land of the Ice and Snow, I mean, if that sort of thing started up and that was like your Thor theme throughout these movies, that would have been nice. Although there's not much in the way of ice and snow in this world of Asgard, so he doesn't really seem all that Viking-like to me. But this was one of the better performances by the usually fairly stiff Chris Hemsworth. I mean, like, this is like a star-making movie, really. Now it really feels like it's not Thor without him at this point, and I think he even says he's done playing Thor after Infinity War, maybe Infinity War 2 or something. But, you know, go out on a high note, right? He's got plenty of cash. He's banging an older lady from Fast and Furious films. But, yeah, he's addressing the camera, talking about how he got in this situation. He's locked up in this, like, hell in a cell. There's some demon facing him. He's getting twisted around. I didn't really appreciate how they tried to turn too much into humor, especially when Thor is a really straightforward guy. He's not even as jokey as Tony Stark, so it didn't make sense to me for him to now all of a sudden be embracing this. Like, he's spinning on this rope while this guy is like talking to him about his evil plan. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm spinning around. Hold on, just wait. All right, I'm still spinning. Okay, let's talk." Fights him, fights his goons, takes him out, takes his headpiece, puts it in like his dad's treasure room, and I guess he's been gone for some time. There's this idea that Loki had died, though no one believes that. He didn't for sure. He's been posing as Odin. They built a big Loki statue. Which, what is it to build a statue of Loki on Asgard? Like, with everybody... If so, or at least so many people have super abilities and shit, is it really that big of a deal? I mean, there could be statues all over the place, and I surely expect them to be. Shoot, forgot that guy's name, the black guy that's in everything. He's like the gatekeeper of the Stargate. He has a sword he's missing for convenience. So now they've got Carl Urban doing it. I'm not really sure why him, but... he had a kind of nice little role where he's a henchman who makes a face turn. He just wants some recognition and stuff. He wanted a position of power and he got it, you know, who can blame him? But we have Odin missing. Thor and Loki go look for him on Earth. where Loki's not really well liked, but sticks out like a sore thumb anyways. And then they go see Doctor Strange out of nowhere, just so that they can have some kind of Marvel crossover. Oh, hey, you remember this guy from a couple movies back? Yeah, we thought he'd show up and say like 2 words and be like, Odin's over here, even though these guys could have probably easily spotted him through some other plot contrivance. We just wanted to give you 5 minutes of Doctor Strange to remind you that he might be important. So they go and see him on like what's basically Ireland. And again, if they're based on Norse god mythology, how come there's nothing like snow about any of this? Like, or horns so much. There's not horn. I didn't really like Thor's costume in this movie. They're getting further away from the look in the comics. Why couldn't they just give him the costume he had in the first Thor, sans sleeves? Oh, but every costume designer has to put their own spin on it, you know, so they can sell a new toy. So that you can buy a new Hot Toys for every version. Jesus. Like, there's no reason to change Iron Man so much, but that's the same reason they do it, right? So, they find Odin and he's like, oh, I'm dying, bye. Dissolves, flies off, and he talks about how they have an evil sister, the goddess of death, Kate Blanchett. I guess it's appropriate enough. And then she immediately shows up because Odin's powers were keeping her away from Asgard. As she gets closer to Asgard, now she gains control, so they have to try to beat her there. Though I guess she didn't need to show up. She should have just been headed straight there already, but wasn't. Instead needed to tell them a little, hey, look at me, I have some powers, you can't stop me. She gets to Asgard, takes over the place. I guess some of the Warrior 3 guys, one of them, the Asian, tries to fight her. He apparently gets killed. Now Karl Urban is like her sidekick. She uses the eternal flame that's in the... I wonder if that was even brought up in a previous Marvel film, because I missed like half of them. Uses that to bring power to her dead army, which is completely useless, because there's too much of this in these Marvel films, these like faceless goon armies. Oh yeah, I'm so impressed. You have goons that have no character, just like in the Avengers 2012. Yeah, I wonder if they're going to be able to stop any heroes. Oh wait, they can't. But there is a large dog. Alright, cool, this like big husky wolf. Alright, whatever. Well, while trying to head to Asgard, Loki and Thor get caught, the Bifrost, the Stargate. They fall into this planet where there's this collector guy, played by Jeff Goldblum, who's like, hey, I'm basically Mojo, and all this stuff on this planet belongs to me. I need you guys to fight my champion. But I guess Loki got there earlier because time travel and space relativity, blah, blah, blah. Let's throw in some science. So you have Thor fighting the champion. The champion is revealed to be Hulk. So the Incredible Hulk fell to this planet, and he's been there for a while. And he talks more English than he had before, and now he's voiced by... the little guy that plays him, and not Lou Ferrigno. Though you won't really notice much of a difference. I think they worked his voiceover, sampled it down some, make it a little lower. I feel like that's what they did. Let's go over here. There's some shade and probably mountain lions to attack me. So, yeah, now they're fighting it out, and they seem to have a draw, but, you know, to save face, no one is actually shown winning or losing or even really understanding the outcome of this fight. But now they're both in, like, the champion quarters and permitted to live. You got this gal who kind of captured and brought Thor to the Collector. She's revealed to be a Valkyrie, one of the people of Asgard that was a fighter, and she lost like her whole unit, her whole like team to Kate Blanchett earlier. So now she has some vengeance to get on her. Eventually, Thor's able to talk her into helping out and gets Hulk to calm down and become Banner again, and they escape, but you know, the Collector ain't having none of that. Still, they managed to put together a pretty decent escape plan because they cause an uprising, or they facilitate one, and now things are turning on the Collector, and it allows them to escape up the conveniently placed whatever God's butthole or something like this. And they were able to get to Asgard and fight Goddess of Death. They have a huge fight on the Bifrost heading to the Stargate. What's his name? Himdall, black guys and everything. The Dark Tower, whatever. Forgot. Idris Elba. He's in like half the movies I've reviewed when I was a film critic. Yeah, so he shows up, helps them out. Karl Urban decides to turn. There was a cool moment where like Banner reveals that he's the Hulk to the Valkyrie chick who didn't realize it. As she didn't see him turn down into the Hulk, and they'd been hanging out when he was Hulk. And he's going to go fight the dog, but he just kind of falls limp. But then he becomes the Hulk and fights the dog, takes it out. So you got something there for the Hulk to fight that's interesting. And, you know, you have a lot of this like zany, not our culture stuff going on. I kind of like it. It wasn't too much though. I mean, I thought that this was going to be excessively comedy, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but you know, only at the start really was it seeming to be going for too many of those laughs. You know, trying to get all cute, being self-aware. And it didn't so much later on. They didn't wink and crack jokes at the audience. I like that it started taking an action seriously, though like I said, the army of nobodies is easily defeated by M16 guns. So have at it what you will there. There was a nice little twist here. In order to defeat her, they have to destroy Asgard, which was the prophecy this guy was mouthing off about at the beginning. So they just power him up, get him in touch with the eternal flame they wanted to keep away from him, so he can become the size of a mountain and crush the whole star, taking out Kate Blanchett with them. And now they realize that, hey, Asgard is a people. We gotta get the people off of this place. And so they do. They head to Earth, where Thor is well liked, I guess, and they think, hey, maybe we can get Loki to be liked around here too, whatever. But then his big spaceship's there blocking them, and it's like, ta-da! Continue in Avengers Infinity War, yeah. And then your little post-credit scene shows Jeff Goldblum getting overthrown and him saying, oh, he's coming out of hiding like Muammar Gaddafi, and he's like, it's a draw. So yeah, I mean, this was a decent enough movie, but you know, any more entertaining in this way is actually pretty good for me for a Marvel film. It's more than I really. I mean, I'm always expecting like a 2.5, like competent enough movie, but this kind of surprised me in that it didn't try too hard to be funny. It was fairly sensical, though I feel like it's just because my previous knowledge on comic book characters, though not immense, and everybody on Twitter telling me about who's who and what movie all the damn time, that I was able to make some sense of the narrative. I wonder if you could actually watch this having only watched the Thor movies. If this is your third MCU film and all you watched was Thor, Thor Dark World, and this, would it make sense to you? Probably not. And that gets to be a real problem if you start to try to look at any of these. Shit, now you guys get to see my hair looking terrible, I'm assuming. These movies don't stand on their own, so at really best I can give is really 3 out of 4 stars. I'm already walking, so let's end the workout. Oh man, that's pretty right on. 45 minutes and 3 seconds. 2.39 miles, 156 active calories burned, 222 calories total. And this all goes to the running total, of course. So the idea here is that we take the 2.39 and multiply it by 2, because I don't have quite 3,000 subscribers, of course. So for every subscriber, it's 1,000. Well, every 1,000 subscribers makes $1 towards St. Jude's based on per mile that I run, and so we're putting the totals up over here somewhere. And then we add that all together to make the running total, and that's really the way this works. And I know people complain about the running, and I get more comments telling me to kill myself than I actually do views, which is pretty amazing. But you know, if you appreciate it, if you want to spread the word, and you can see my nose running over here, subscribe, tell some friends, get some friends and make them subscribe. Do that at least. Let's help me get my numbers up, guys. Another thing, if you really want to help out, just hit up my Patreon. It's only $1 a month. Gets you full access to my podcast I'm doing on the weekends, where I'm putting down meatier subjects that, YouTube doesn't necessarily want to hear.
Like, comment, share, follow, subscribe. Vaughan Jog Vlog is made possible by your support on Patreon. Patreon.com/Vaughan Fry. Because Google.